Today on 321 Liftoff, we're on location at the Brevard Zoo, home to lush open-air habitats that are home to over 900 animals from around the world. We'll learn about animal feedings, kayak tours, train rides, aerial adventures, and more. You'll learn why this zoo is listed number 6 on the list of top 50 zoos in the United States. It's coming right up, right here on 321 Liftoff.
3, 2, 1, liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to 321 Liftoff. I'm Wayne Belden, the president of Belden Communications, the publisher of the Space Coast Fun Guide and SpaceCoastFunGuide.com. We'll be bringing you 321 Liftoff each week, talking about tourism on Florida's fabulous Space Coast. With me is the host of 321 Liftoff, Bonnie King, former Deputy Director of the Space Coast Office of Tourism, as well as the past President of the Florida Film Commission. Bonnie, are we ready to blast off on 321 Liftoff?
I think we
All
are.
right,
I think we are.
we're here.
Hey, today, we're here at the beautiful location of the Turtle Healing Center right here at the Brevard Zoo, a zoo that was built and designed by more than 16,000 residents of Florida's Space Coast and under the direction of professional Imagineers. So our Brevard Zoo is the largest volunteer build in the world, and our tourism conversation today is going to be with Keith Winsten. He's the executive director of the zoo, and he is going to tell us what is going on in this community and as well as here at the zoo. 321 Liftoff is brought to you in part by the Beachside Hotel and Suites on Cocoa Beach, offering a great vacation overnight destination when you plan your visit here to the fabulous Florida Space Coast, and by Longboard's Restaurant and Tiki Bar, which is located at the Hilton Oceanfront in Cocoa Beach, offering a fabulous ambiance with great food and drink. And by the SpaceCoastFunGuide.com, where you will learn what there is to see and do in this fabulous area and where to do it. And joining me, as always, is my very good friend, Vice President of Belden Communications, John Belden.
Good morning, Bonnie. Happy Friday to you.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, one of the things I love about Brevard Zoo is all the shade that it offers, especially in warm summers like we have, and the lush garden areas where all the animals come out to play and to be seen, which that's an awesome thing to check out. They're all in their natural habitat, which I love. And I love the freedom that the animals have as they just seem to go about their natural day and never feel like they're in an enclosed but very protected area. We're right outside. Isn't that cool? I mean, you guys have done a really a great job designing that. We're right outside here today, the Turtle Healing Center, which Keith will tell us all about here in a moment. And right off the deck is beach decor, which that's my zen.
Yes.
So with beach chairs, benches where you can just rest, stop, and just kind of take in all the beauty here at the zoo. Joining us today again is our producer, Phil Bird. Good morning there, Phil.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
He's been over there feeding the giraffes. Did you make a friend there, Phil?
I made 3.
There you go, buddy. And my father, the president of Belden Communications, Wayne Belden. How you doing there, Pop?
I am doing so fantastic, I can't take it anymore. You know, I was just thinking, Phil, your last name is very appropriate for a zoo.
Oh, that's
Phil
true,
Bird.
Phil Bird.
Bird.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I'm interested in the status of the future build of the first-class aquarium that is now being designed by the Brevard Zoo, as it will serve as a hub for the Indian River Lagoon science and research. Our Brevard Zoo is a leader in conservation and sustainability with the belief of leaving our planet a better place than we found it. And I think that's great. I'm all
That's
for
wonderful.
it.
It's a great mission statement as well. So let us introduce our executive director of the Brevard Zoo, Keith Winsten, and he's going to share his passionate joy of nature. And I've known you for years, and I know what a passion you have for this place. So welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. And I'm sort of hearing your passion for podcasts. You guys have great radio voices.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
When you came on, I was like, this is you were built for
I've
these.
only been doing it 30 years.
There you go.
There you go.
That was what I was in before I got into this.
I believe it now that I hear you.
A
on
voice
microphone.
and a face for radio,
Oh,
they
yes.
say.
There you
I
go.
don't know about the
I will
face.
not comment on that.
I don't know about
It's
the
just a
face.
lot of fun. So, Keith, what we want to talk about first off is let's get a little history behind the zoo and let people know. I mean, this zoo is definitely unique, gets a lot of national publicity, but give us a little history.
Sure. Well, first, I want to make one little correction. We're actually sitting on what we call the sea turtle deck. The Sea
Turtle
Healing
deck.
Center is off site from the public. It's where we actually do the rehab work on turtles. And by law, that has to be private. They're not something
Really?
for the public to see. Yeah. We
Interesting.
do take time people back there occasionally for special purposes. But when you see something like that, there has to be a layer of glass or film or something because those turtles are in rehab.
Wow.
They're like in the hospital. We got to respect their privacy.
That's cool, actually, to know
so
that.
it's a huge facility with multiple tanks, and it's by our veterinary facility. This is a sea turtle deck, and I can talk about that in a little bit. It's a whole different experience we're really proud of. But the zoo itself, Bonnie, as you said, it was built before my time. I've been here, I guess I'm coming on 18 years. It was built 27 years ago by the community. It was an interesting partnership in design. They got an established zoo designer, and they partnered with someone who was an expert at working with groups. And so they did this together. And if you talk to the people who built it, they had a blast. It is still one of their peak experiences in their lives was building a zoo. They got to, handle heavy equipment in those days when insurance allowed amateurs to do that. Partnered
That
with
sounds fun.
aerospace and the
They did.
military.
They loved it.
And everybody took it. And I have tons of stories for them. I wasn't here to experience it, but they did have a great time. And they built a great zoo. They put in this setup that works beautifully for us that really is super functional. And they also took a big risk. If you talk to the original founders, they will tell you, I never thought this thing would make it.
Really?
And that was reasonable because most zoos get a significant portion of their operating funds as public funds from a city, county, state, something. We don't get any recurring public operating funds. We've had to be entrepreneurial from day one. We were able to do that because we live in the shadows of the theme parks and there's a heavy tourism destination here. And compared to them, we're very reasonably priced.
Yes, you are.
And we are an excellent half-day experience, which competes very well with the full-day commitments you get with theme parks. So we fill a slot that's not there. We are not-for-profit, a 501c3. We're a charity, and people donate and support us. But we're very entrepreneurial because of that background. So we've had to be innovative from the beginning to keep the doors open, and we're really proud of that. We are also relying on tourism. As you know, we get a percentage of the bed tax here, not for operating purposes, but for capital projects to keep us fresh and build new pieces. And we're really, really thankful for that. So every time somebody stays in a hotel or an Airbnb and they pay a tax, we get 5% of that tax. And that comes to us and allows us to build things like this. So it's a great partnership with tourism. We like to think we're not necessarily the first reason people come to Brevard County, but we're often the reason they stay an extra day.
That's right.
Extend their
Absolutely.
stay. And that's what we hear from them because they fall in love with the zoo. It becomes part of their annual pilgrimage, so to speak.
Many years ago, long before I lived in this community and worked with my father with the Space Coast Fun Guide, I too actually came down here. I stayed right across the street, the hotel across the way, and we came here. And that was exactly it. We came with actually friends of ours, and we said, you know what, let's hang out one more day. And that was the first thing we did in the morning was came here. So it's true.
One of my favorite stories when we actually put up, we had an initial sign, a very modest sign at opening that was donated by a local sign company. And now we're actually at our second new sign that just went in this year. But the first one we put, it was sort of a major investment for us. And there were 3 guys installing the sign. One was a local guy, and 2 were from Orlando. So day trippers are part of our group. The local guy said, oh my gosh, I've never been here. And the 2 guys from Orlando said, are you kidding me? We take our families here all the time, and you live right here.
Right.
So sometimes those hidden treasures are right in your backyard.
Absolutely.
We needed
This
the
is a
sign,
hidden
that was
treasure.
for sure, for
Yes.
the locals to see. So.
Yes.
Yeah, this is definitely. And what's really great, too, and I remember I was here when the build was happening, and we would come over with the Office of Tourism and just check and watch all the people have fun doing stuff. And everybody who had the opportunity to help build actually got a brick, and they got to put their name on it, and they're all over the zoo, which is a wonderful way.
Yeah.
I just think it's a great, and people come just to get to see their name.
A little different.
Yeah.
They actually did those bricks with
Yeah.
every elementary school student
Okay.
in Brevard County.
Yeah.
The people who made the zoo had lots of ways they were recognized. Those bricks have been fabulous. They're part of our character.
Yeah, they are.
But the interesting thing is when you have a home-built zoo, you have some home-built problems. So when I first came here, those bricks are all unequal shapes and sizes. They're slightly off because they were made by hand. And they were all just laid in sand. And so they were the world's greatest tripping hazards. And
Oh,
they-
yeah, I would imagine.
Oh,
we had to
wow,
spend the first
yeah.
couple of years getting in really professional masons to mason them in flat because they were creeping out all the time and we had to handle. That's done now. We love the look and feel, but they're better used on vertical surfaces. So we wrap buildings. We still have some
I
in the
know,
back.
I noticed that.
We use
yes.
them all over. They're really part of our design sort of standard.
That's neat for the history of it.
What's the newest build that you had?
So the newest piece we had, we opened Rainforest Revealed, which is our South American loop, really 2019, 2020 pieces of it. And our philosophy here is better, not bigger. We are a half-day experience, so we have 5 main loops, and we upgrade them regularly, as opposed to adding more and more and more and more, and
That's
getting
great.
to be the full day that it takes too much of your time. So it was time for us to work on that loop, and we wanted to do a few things. We wanted to focus on animal wellness and giving all the primates, all the monkeys that live there, choices, as well as adding some new experiences for people. So that was completed in 2020. We actually added a little piece this year to it. It really renovated a lot of the existing ones and added a lot of new species like venomous snakes and river monsters and giant otters from South America. But it also connected all the primates. So all of the primates now have multiple places they could live and sky tunnels overhead. So they're constantly migrating through. And it's been amazing watching the change in the animals' behavior. And then we put in a skywalk for people. So you can go up and be at the same level. And we put in a lift so someone in a wheelchair or a stroller can get up there too. So it's been a great addition. You feel like you're in the forest. And actually, one of the really cool things happening right now, we had a small spider monkey troop. It lived in a single exhibit. Spider monkeys live like people do, what we call a fission fusion society, right? So think about Thanksgiving's coming up. You're going to have family join you for a day, and then after 3 days, you're really happy for them to leave.
Yes.
So that's where you have sophisticated animal groups in the wild. Elephants, dolphins, great apes live in fission fusion. They know they're bigger families, but Lord knows they don't want to spend all day with them. So they fission and they fusion, right?
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's a neat.
Yeah.
That's a neat concept.
Interesting.
Okay,
You
I
didn't
like
realize
it.
right?
Yeah.
So spider monkeys actually live in fission fusion too. The only primate in the New World to do that, and no one's ever kept them that way. So we added 3 more spaces for them to do, and they actually live in this fission fusion. You see during the day they'll break into little groups and they'll get together. It's all at their control. And we've since been adding some additional monkeys that are rescues. So we had twice now. We just did it right now as we're speaking, a second monkey. But the first monkey, Mateo, was smuggled over the border in Texas in the console of a pickup truck. Mother was probably killed. He was going to be smuggled for the pet trade and ended up coming here and with the help of Florida Tech Aviation that flew him here and got integrated into the group. So now he's part of the group. And
Wow.
no one's ever done that before. We learned so much about it. It turned out that it wasn't our group. Our group was ready to take him in. It was him. He just was really nervous about monkeys. We had another monkey confiscated on the border that showed up here, I think, this week.
Wow.
Completely different personality than Mateo. He's a little guy. His name is Jay. He's named after, I believe, he's either the Border Patrol or the Fish and Wildlife person who found him because as they were fleeing, they chucked the suitcase with this little monkey off the truck.
Holy cow.
And this Border Patrol agent, I think, spent hours looking because he knew it was a death sentence to find him. So we named him after the gentleman who put the time in to save his life.
What a great story.
Yeah.
He showed up here. He's like ready to rock and roll. He's talking to the other monkeys right away. I got to go check. We might have integrated him already.
This is paradise for him.
So yeah, and so it's amazing when you see it as an animal professional. You go, oh my gosh! But just as a human being, you can see the monkeys living like they want to do.
Wonderful.
It's really wonderful.
It's wonderful.
Can we hit on something real quick that Keith said I think is very important? I was watching a documentary the other day on Disney, and their whole vision is that every experience is different. That way people have a reason to keep coming back. And Keith, you said you regularly update these.
Yeah.
And that's important because for locals and visitors, if you've been here before, you need to come back because it's
Right.
constantly changing. And I think that's a great thing for our destination here. It's always a different experience. It's always something new and exciting.
And the thing about zoos and aquariums that separate them, I love theme parks, don't get me wrong, I love theme parks. But typically when I ride the same ride in a theme park, it's pretty much the same every time.
Been there,
Right.
done that.
What makes it different is the human interaction, or if the kid in front of you throws up because they ate too much, you remember that, right? but the bottom line is, it's the core experiences are very similar. It's the human interactions.
Yep.
We have all those human interactions here, but it's never the same because what the animal's doing is
Yep.
always different. So in many ways, you get to author your own authentic experience with whether you fed the giraffe,
Yep.
what's happening. So, for example, we've been transitioning the giraffe from romaine lettuce, which is not terribly healthy to them, to natural browse, which is what they would eat, a diversity of things. And the romaine lettuce is like candy. It's like a
Really?
little kid. They're like, I want my romaine lettuce. So we've been going through experience of them learning, and people come, and some people are disappointed because the giraffes are like thumbing their nose at the healthy food, but we're getting there, right? So
They're
it's
like
always
kids.
changing how we manage it, right?
Yeah.
And that's very different than other places.
Yeah.
So it's got to change because we're always trying to improve the quality of lives for our animals.
I love that.
And let's just talk about the giraffes, because they're right in front of your face. They come
Yeah.
right up to you, feed them, you can touch them, have your picture taken with them. It's like one of the number one things when people come, they've got to see those giraffes.
Yeah.
And then when you have a baby giraffe that is born,
Oh my gosh.
all the hoopla that goes around, it's a wonderful. What's the youngest guy? Because I know one was born last
We
year.
have so many giraffes. I
Yeah,
don't know, but
you
I
don't-
will tell you, our 2 adult breeding females are really. I think they're on birth control now. We're not breeding them anymore. So what happens with zoos? We work with each other, all accredited zoos, accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We manage our animal populations together genetically, so there's always enough space for them, and it's a genetically diverse population. So our 2 girls have had so many babies that they're on birth control now. We do have a young female.
And they're probably very thankful for
I'm
you.
probably very thankful. Enough strappers, youngsters. We have a young female who might be slated to breed, but they're sort of overly represented. But we do have a mess of giraffes, and they're great. And again, every time you see them, they're doing something different. We actually have trained our giraffes for hoof care, right? Like a horse, giraffe, you just need to watch their hoofs. And our giraffes are actually trained to put their foot up and let our farriers, our in-house people, care for their hoofs. And it's funny, you mentioned Disney. Their staff and lots of other zoos send their folks here to get trained on how to do that hoof.
That is
Isn't that
such
great?
a cool
Wow,
thing.
that's phenomenal. That's
Yeah.
really great.
And while you guys were talking about the giraffes, I was actually playing video
Yeah.
of the newborn calf that you
Nice.
guys had
Nice.
a couple of years ago. So
I got to tell you the funny story. I was like, man, we haven't had giraffes in a while. I'm usually the last guy to know here, which I consider a good management style because people are doing great
Right.
things. And it doesn't matter if I know it, they're doing great things. And I was like, wow, we haven't had giraffe babies in a while. And then I checked, yeah, none of our giraffes are currently, again, we don't want them to have babies right now. We are expecting some other babies, which we're excited about.
Yeah.
And so stay tuned for that. Hopefully, when
you
they get
kidding?
more to-
We can
Yeah.
break news right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say.
You're the boss.
No, I listen to everybody else. I don't think we are expecting our first taper baby in a while. This is a young female, Mia. We've had tapers born here before. So if you go to our taper exhibit, you'll see there's actually fence up around the pond because we don't want the baby taper stumbling.
Nice.
We don't know about Mia. Mia was a hand-raised taper, which is always a problem. You want animals raised by their mother. She doesn't quite know how to be a taper herself, so we don't know how she's going to be as a mother. We might have to step in, which we prefer not to do.
You want it natural.
You want it natural. So she's a little bit of a wacky taper to begin with, so this could be
my
an
style.
interesting time. We are waiting.
When I was doing the Open, and I was reading home to over 900 animals.
Yeah.
Wow, my God, that 900 animals. You know how many animals that is?
It's a lot.
900.
I have
believe
2 cats, and
900.
it's a lot.
That is phenomenal.
It is.
And what are some of these animals that are different that we don't know?
Well, and again, depending on how we count it. So I'm looking at the fish tank over there, which is an amazing tank full of native fish. But, it's probably 25, 30 fish in there. So it includes fish and invertebrates and other smaller things. We are a collection of experiences, and that's how we see it. We're not a collection of animals. We don't even like the term. So we have animals here that we can provide extraordinary care for and provide you as guests with insights into the natural world and connections. So we're not encyclopedic. We don't ever care to be. But we have added some things over the last few years that people really wanted to see that made sense. So we've gotten into the bear rehab business. We've had 2 orphan bears come to us. Well, one was an orphan. One was just a starving female who wasn't doing very well on her own, and the other was an orphaned cub, Brody. And so we would hear from people, where are your lions and tigers and bears? And the answer is our bears are here now. They're incredibly entertaining, and I'm really proud of our bear program. Bears in the wild, Florida bears in the wild spend about 70% of their time foraging. And they don't
Really?
have hibernation, right? They might slow down in the winter, but our Florida bears are really big because they eat all winter
Right.
versus northern bears. And typically bears in the wild, intelligent, curious animals, they're constantly foraging. And often when you go to zoos, you see a lot of bears pacing back and forth.
Right.
You rarely see that here. Last time I looked at our stats, because we measure those things, our bears were pacing less than 13% of the time.
Wow.
We actually measure those things.
Because they're like well taken care of, and
They're
they go,
full.
"Oh, this is a great."
We're
eh,
constantly
we're
making their
fed.
environment interesting. It looks like a toddler's bedroom in the bear exhibit. It's got so much stuff in there to keep them busy.
That's great, though.
It
this
is
is
great.
this is
It's
paradise.
great.
Great.
Wow.
You know, you have to adjust. I like it to look natural. It looks more like, again, Toy Story, but I'm okay with it because it's a much better quality of life for the bears.
You know, the bears are laughing at their friends up north, going, "I'm in Florida. This is
Exactly.
is
I want to be
perfect.
like
This is
them.
great.
And of course, most people want to see the alligators.
Yeah, and that's another interesting animal wellness story. When the zoo opened 25 plus years ago, my understanding is we had 20 alligators in our alligator exhibit. When I came, it was about 15, and by the time we renovated, it was about 8. Some of it was natural attrition, but a lot of it was aggression between the alligators.
Oh wow.
And it's possible to modify the exhibit so that you had visual barriers, so you weren't looking at that guy over there all the time. But we made a decision that the best quality of life for our alligators, because they do not live in pairs in the wild, is just to have one male and one female. So I'd be the first to tell you, it's not as much fun as when there were 15 gators, but we have 2 happier, healthier gators.
It's important.
Those are the decisions we make. So sometimes people are like, where are all the gators? So there's only 2, but you notice they don't have any scars. They're not beating up. They're relaxed and comfortable. They're not competing with anybody for anything. And that's a better quality of life for those animals.
I respect you for that.
Yeah.
You can go to some
Life is
commercial
good.
animal farm, you're going to see 50 gators lying on top of each other. But I guarantee you they're living perpetually stressed.
Yeah.
And it's different. Imagine if you're in an apartment with 20 people.
Right,
versus 2
yeah.
people.
Right.
So we make those trade-offs. Sometimes guests are like, where are the gators? Well, we're not going to sacrifice that
Yeah,
standard.
but that makes you great here. You're a true conservationist, and you live by that, and that's important.
Yeah,
Where do you have the Bigfoot stashed?
I've been
Bigfoot.
waiting for that. If you can get me one, a swamp monster, the
You
Jersey
didn't
Devil.
see the video last
I'm
night from
totally
Idaho?
gonna. I'm
Did you
gonna.
see that?
I did not.
Oh, there's apparently there's a very, very HD quality video of Bigfoot.
I have to tell you,
That might have been me out at
I,
night.
do-
I don't
I
know.
have to go here for a minute because I've got 3 kids and my son's now is 25, and I remember talking to him one day and he said to me, Dad, do you believe in Bigfoot? I was like, no, I don't. I said, that's a very populated part of the country. If there was a Bigfoot running around, at least we'd find scat or the corpse or something. He said, I don't know how they'd explain that we'd never find any tracks. So he ended up watching some of those TV shows. He came back to me one day and said, Dad, they explain it. I said, what is it? They're actually aliens.
Oh.
And they
Oh.
beam up before
no.
they die, and that explains. So if you can get to the spaceship and get me the Bigfoot, but we'd want him to be free here, just
Yeah.
being part of our team. That's
That's
the more you made. So.
He can just walk along the decks that are here.
Absolutely, we'd give him a good living. Whatever he wants, he'd have as
You-
much
you-
beef jerky as he requires.
You need to hire
so-
Harry
Right.
from Harry and the Hendersons. He was great.
Exactly.
That would be good. Now let's talk about the kids because as an adult, when I come here, I take in the beauty. I love all the beauty that you see in the garden areas, the relaxation, the shade. Wonderful. But kids come here and they're seeing through a different eye, and you have that wonderful exhibit too. When I say wonderful exhibit, lots of exhibits for kids that get to do, and all designed so cool. Like if I was a kid, I'd want to be crawling over that big turtle that I see over there, or climbing up the tree. So talk a little bit about
Well,
the
sure.
things the kids
Well,
can do.
Let's talk about the role of play with children for a minute. So one thing we forget, every time you see a playground that's got the same pieces of equipment, you forget that play, by definition, is letting kids do something different and new. And you can do that on a playground. But real play, from my point of view, involves loose parts and staff. It's got creative play to it. It's got the ability to change your habitat. And that's hard. A lot of places don't want to do that. So we have some things here that are examples of real play. And on top of it, nature play, right? Letting kids off the sidewalk into the woods, which is what we all did as kids, right? Mom would let you out in the morning in the summer. You'd go run in the fields until you came home. Or if you lived in the city, you'd play stickball. You'd still,
That's what I did.
yeah, you were with your own group of kids, not moderated by adults.
Right.
That's play. And we have a problem in society that kids are so scheduled every moment of the day. And then I used to play pickup games for baseball and soccer, and now every kid's in a league every day. And don't get me wrong, my kids have played a lot of competitive sports. We actually don't know where they came from because they're all really good athletes, not from my wife and I myself. So we got to give kids those play opportunities. We actually have pieces here. We have something called the Exceptional Nature Play Area, which is a wooded area with all sorts of loose pieces in it that's actually aimed at families with kids with varying exceptionalities. like sensory processing, like being on the autism scale, where they have their own private space and they can play in the woods safely, and the whole family can.
That's really cool.
We have our water play, which again involves walking around and exploring. We have fort building, which is like a key play.
Oh, I love
So-
Phil, let's go do some fort building.
Exactly. Remember, when
yeah.
you have kids, the first thing you do, remember you make forts
Yeah.
with
Yes.
sheets off your bed,
Yeah.
and then you move outside, and now we have all these homeowner associations that you can't build a fort.
Oh,
Right?
man.
So we want to scaffold people to do nature play. So it's not just fun for kids. We want to model for families about how to do that. We have something called Family Nature Club that we run. I don't know how many field trips a month. It's free on Saturdays. Some of them meet here at the zoo. Others meet at other sites. And we model for families how to play in nature because it's such a critical part of what you do. And we all did it as kids.
Yep.
And to tell you another story, kids love it. When my son was little, I found I love snakes, and when Vieira was less developed, I flipped the mattress. That's what snake people do. We flip stuff.
That's what snake people do.
And there was a coach whip curled up underneath it, which is just a really cool snake. He was in shed, and I drove home to get my son, and his friends were there. So they all came, went back, flipped the mattress, saw the snake curled up.
Wait a minute. A mattress like in his bedroom?
No, a mattress
On-
in
on-
the woods. Someone
yeah.
had
Oh, in the wood. Okay.
This is before it was developed, he said. So he
Oh,
was out
okay,
there.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Thank you. That wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
Good point. Anyway, the bottom line is
I'd be
they were
freaking
also
out.
were
Yeah.
excited on Saturday. They said, "Can we go to the woods again?" And I took them up to Pine Island, which is an eel site, and we showed up there, and it was flooded. And so it was up to my knees. It was up to their waists. And we spent 2 hours slogging through water, and I thought, oh my gosh, their parents are going to call me. These kids are, gonna need it. This was on Saturday.
They said, we had the best time.
Sunday morning, 8 a.m., they're all at the door knocking, Mr. Winsten, what are we going to do today? And the fact of the matter, these kids had never been in the woods, and they just naturally loved it. Even though they were up to their waist in water, they had mosquito bites. It was like a peak
It's a
experience
blast, though.
for them.
That's like a passage, right? A passage, right? I mean, it's a rite of passage when you're a little boy or whatever, even little girls. That's a fun thing to do. Get out there and,
Get out, get wet, have a fire, cook hot dogs, marshmallows, whatever it is.
We had an empty lot next to our house growing up, and that's where we went and played. It was
Yeah.
all woods, and we took the palm fronds and built the fort and
Yep.
all that stuff.
That's
and
it. So
yeah.
we try to recreate that here for kids.
I love the water that the kids can play in and stuff because especially during the summer, you're walking around, you might get a little bit hot. Parents can sit in the shaded area with Wi-Fi, and they can sit there and do whatever they need to do while the kids are having a great time in all the water activities. So
Well, and actually, that goes
great
back
thinking.
to the sea turtle deck. We have this wonderful beach here where kids play in the sand, but we also have a partner with Northrop Grumman Corporation and a couple of local universities, Embry-Riddle, James Madison, that we've been developing, and some local high schools like Edgewood, that we've been developing technologies for studying sea turtles. So we added some exhibits this year about that. You can see there's a drone out there, and there's a buoy about these systems. So mom and dad can sit in shade on the deck while the kids are playing the sand, but we're going to sneak in some content
Right.
about what we do, and that's exactly what this
But not only that, they get educated. And speaking of education, I know with COVID it might not have happened this year, but you had students that would come in here, I think, for 8 weeks at a time, and this would be their classroom.
Yeah, so we have classrooms on the facility. One of our longest running programs, Zoo School, it serves Title I schools. And it used to be the kids would come here and they'd be bused from their school 5 days a week, 9 weeks of the
Yeah,
school year.
it's
We now
fabulous.
typically do it more like 3 weeks, but it serves a variety of schools. That, again, they get on a bus in their school, they come here, this is school, we have classrooms for them. And they end up doing the same curriculum they would, but all this additional nature stuff, and you end up having a group of kids flourish. And this is in 5th grade where kids often will drop off the table, just lose interest in school. It really hooked kids. And we've had kids come by and say that was the seminal moment in their life in their committing to continuing and getting their high school degrees and even college degrees was
Really?
the 9 weeks of zoo school.
Isn't
Wow,
that's
That's interesting.
outstanding.
That's very interesting.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, Bonnie, speaking of kids,
kids?
the kids would love Lazy River, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. I think you were getting ready to get into that, weren't you?
What he said was true, because I remember when I was in 5th grade, I was a straight A student, and then everything dropped off because I played video games. So I see what you mean there. You need something to do something
interesting.
to do something that's interesting. But we want to know some interesting things about you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 things you didn't know.
Brought
Mr.
to you
Keith
by Beachside Hotel and Suites in Cocoa Beach.
Absolutely. And Michelle Martindale, I was with her this week and is telling me they've got entertainment this weekend and they've got the duck dive going on with some movies and the TV that has football or whatever is playing.
And an amazing lazy river. So we talk about the lazy river, Dad. That thing is fantastic. Yes, I can float. You go in there, you float around with the family. They've got everything you need. So when you're in Cocoa Beach, especially if you're a family, they'll give you the boogie boards, they'll give you the bicycles, they got the cart, they got the towels, anything you need. Beachside Hotel and Suites. Definitely want to go check that out. So 3 things you need to know is brought to you by our friends Michelle Martindale and Beachside Hotel and Suites.
Absolutely. And their website, beachsidehotelcocobeach.com, where you can look at the fabulous pictures and give them a call and take a look and come here and spend a vacation and stay over there. So 3 things about Keith Winsten that maybe we don't know.
Well, I'm going to give you 4 things. Give
Oh,
you
a bonus.
Okay, yeah.
To go one off, John said, John, I can't float.
You
I
can't
sink
float.
like a stone. I can swim, but the minute I stop swimming, I just sink.
You don't go on your back and
Nope,
just...
it's like almost impossible for me. I'm not
all that
a witch.
muscle.
I'm not a witch. I clearly don't.
I'm the
float.
same way. It's okay. I'm the same way.
You're not
Also,
buoyant?
I sink. So anyway, I've always got to swim. I love swimming, but if I stop, boom, I'm down.
I'll get you some water wings, Keith. We'll take care
Thank
of
you.
you.
I do need the floaties. So 3 things about me. First of all, I have a complete lack of judgment because I'm an avid, lifelong Mets and Jets fan.
Oh.
And
I'm sorry.
I just don't. I don't give up on it, and of course that means I'm disappointed
Hey,
every year.
we're Raider fans.
Jet-
How do you think we feel?
Jets are going to be good this year.
They'll be better. I think good is pushing it, but they'll be better. But hope springs eternal. So, so that's something that we're all. And if you want a bonus story, I'll tell you about Jets, Patriots, and my daughter. If you want it later on, because there's a great story there about disloyalty, but why you have to go there sometime. I'm a pretty good cook. That's what I do in my family.
Really?
I'm a good recreational cook. I wouldn't call myself chef, but we do auction off meals here that the deputy director and I cook, and they go for thousands of dollars. And
Get out of here.
And during the
Really?
COVID shutdown, I started making some decent craft cocktails because I was desperate.
Oh, we got a little mini bar over
you
here.
don't mind-
Wow.
you don't mind having me in the kitchen?
Do you have a meal of choice that is your your go-to as a cook?
My son for his rehearsal dinner wanted I make a great jambalaya. So my daughter and I serve jambalaya for the rehearsal dinner. So that's pretty much a go. I make a great turkey too. I mean, a traditional
I love a
Thanksgiving,
turkey,
so-
man.
That's
Do
nice.
you deep fry it? Do you smoke it?
No, traditional.
There you go.
No, traditional. I actually just use a dry brine. It's gotten really simple. Stick it in the fridge for 2 days with salt on it.
Oh, you get me hungry. Stop.
Very traditional.
Wow.
Not that fancy, but excellent. And then the third thing, you might know about me. I am an avid birder. I'm someone who tries to see as many species as birds as they can. And so I fly all around the world, mostly in the New World, with other people looking for birds. I was in Costa Rica in January. We saw about 400 species of birds while we were there.
Wow.
So anytime I have free time, like this Saturday, I'll be in the woods, and I keep lists of the different species that I see.
Can I ask?
Wow.
You're a great cook. You cook turkeys. You're executive director of a zoo. Can I ask where you got the turkeys from?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Not here, although
I must have spit out my water.
when I was at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago, there's a place called Jasper Pulaski. It's in Indiana. It's about an hour and a half from the zoo. And for reasons people don't know, when sandhill cranes are migrating down in the fall, they gather in this field. They gather in this field at dusk. And so you go to see like 10,000 sandhill cranes in this field at dusk. And then as it turns back, they give this eerie cry and they fly off and they disperse to the marshes for the night. So it's really quite a spectacle. So we used to lead a field trip from the Brookfield Zoo called See the Big Birds, and then we'd go to this restaurant that specialized in turkeys. And we'd so see the big birds, eat the big birds. And
Yes.
we never wanted to ask people to ask those questions, but they were turkeys as far as we know. So
Wow.
Wow. All
So
right.
let's talk about what's on our mind. We want to talk about the aquarium.
yeah.
Because I know that you guys are looking at designing an aquarium. So tell us about that.
Well, we're heavily into design.
So exciting.
About when I first came here, we didn't really have a conservation philosophy, and that has evolved through a group effort of everybody, and it really can be settled down. We answer the call. We answer the call from state agencies, federal agencies, local groups, and we've done it again and again in many areas. But where we've probably answered the call most is with the Indian River Lagoon. So we are one of the go-to agencies, really along the whole length of the lagoon, for taking on mostly sort of ecosystem recovery projects, restoring oyster beds and now clams and mangroves and We even have done some shoreline grasses and seagrasses, as you see right behind us. So we've become a marine conservation organization. And in answering and looking at the opportunities over 5 years ago now, we realized there was this huge vacuum. There's no aquarium there's no major aquarium south of Charleston on the I-95 corridor. We also realized we had the ideal place to do that, which is Port Canaveral, sort of at the intersection of 95 and 528 and the cruise industry. And working with the port, there's an exceptional site out there, which is actually sort of south of 528. Mm-hmm. So we've been on a journey for 5 years to bring this to fruition. And we're right poised at the point where we have a spectacular design that takes the best elements of the zoo. We are hopefully the end of this month signing an agreement with the port to lock up that land. We're a really committed group of people because Brevard County is flourishing. This is a regional piece. And we have this burning need, which is to be this lighthouse on the lagoon. So no matter what happens with the lagoon, we need to keep people's attention on it. We need to be able to place that conservation work has a coalescing, a meeting space, so to speak, facilitate lots of research and discovery, and keep your attention on how to live lightly with the lagoon. So it's all these ideal pieces. And so we're going to be building an aquarium. I'm quite confident of that. We have to raise a significant piece of money. Last time we looked, it was about an $85 million project. I don't want to do a cost estimate right now because, as you know, building materials are through the roof, and we won't be building it in the next 6 months, so there's no worry there. So we're finally, through COVID, our institution's healthy financially, the zoo's in good shape, the community's in good shape. We have a fantastic plan to raise the money, and we're waiting to sign these documents. So you will see a full court press. Typically, when you do capital campaigns, there's usually a silent phase and then a quiet phase. But of course, people know about the aquarium. It's no secret. So though we're in really good shape, we haven't really asked any individuals for money yet, and we're over $30 million committed or in hand.
Awesome.
And we're in great shape. We will be going out to the community and speaking to people we think have interest. And anyone out there who wants to write us a check, great, especially if you'd like to sit down and have a more significant conversation. There are fabulous opportunities to get involved in this project. But it's a heavy lift. We've got to raise at least another
I know, but
I
look
we
back.
Will get there.
Yeah, look back at the people that participated in building this zoo.
Yep.
Those same people are going to say, hey, how can I assist? And if it's through dollar signs or whatever, or dollar bills, hey, they're there. I think you're not going to have any problem raising that money.
I think it will be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because good things take
of course.
work. But I think you said it. People had so much fun building this zoo. It was such a marker moment. This is another chance, and I'm going to say this in all seriousness. There's not many chances in your lifetime to be involved in a transformative project, and I truly think this is. It's going to be incredible for the lagoon, the beaches, the St. John's. It's going to be incredible for the next generation. It's going to bring about 1,000 jobs when all is said and done.
Yes, that's great.
Impact. It's going to give another reason to visit the Space Coast, another reason to cruise out of Port Canaveral, because you can kill that morning in a beautiful way right across the street. And something for us to be really proud of, because Brevard County on the east coast of Florida has been the leader in conservation. We passed the EELS program for restoring land. We're the only folks who've passed the sales tax. I don't think any other counties have now, but we're the ones who've, we're putting forward $400 million over time to fix the lagoon. We're making a statement that as the Space Coast, we have this commitment to the future and to space and to innovation, but to taking care of what makes this place special. And we know this, engineers love aquariums.
Right.
They're fascinated by them. So if we're going to attract the best and the brightest to our aerospace industry, we got to give them another reason to live here and play here, and the aquarium will do that. So everyone I know, it goes from it's an okay idea to I love the idea.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Nobody thinks it's a bad idea.
And
they all get it.
Based on something you said earlier, if you auction off that these guys that donate can play with the heavy equipment, I think they're going to come running out of the
There you go.
woodworks.
I have to tell you that one of the county commissioners suggested that we auction off the names to the sharks, but only to lawyers.
I
Only
see.
lawyers can name the sharks, and we think that's a brilliant idea.
I got one right on the top of my head.
We talk about Indian River Lagoon, and for a lot of our listeners that are not in Florida, they've never been to Florida, we need to tell you where the Indian River Lagoon is. It's part of the inland waterway, which goes up and down the east coast of the United States. But the Florida portion is probably the biggest and the best, and that starts in Jacksonville and goes all the way south down to Miami, I believe. And so ours is that body of water that's between Cocoa Beach and Rockledge and Cocoa, And so if you get on a map and look, you'll see that's the Indian River Lagoon that we're talking about.
And it's about the actual Indian River Lagoon. It's formal piece, about 40% of our East Coast, and is one of the most diverse estuaries in the country. And that's because it goes across the subtropical temperate line. So you have sort of tropical and more temperate species, and you have species that like more freshwater. You can catch bass there. It's saltwater. It is home to one of the healthiest, well, was healthiest, it's not quite as healthy, manatee populations, dolphin populations, sea turtle populations. It's amazing the diversity of what's there and its accessibility. And one of my favorite things, it's a nursery where bull sharks give birth. So we're committed to bringing bull sharks into our aquarium, even though every aquarium consultant says, ooh, bull sharks, you don't really want those. They're
Right.
really challenging, but we feel we can do that comfortably. It is a jewel, and it's what defines our community. And it's not really a river, it's a lagoon.
It is
it's
a lagoon.
Big bathtub. So things flush into bathtubs. So we got to treat it really carefully to keep it pristine and to keep the fisheries up and to keep the quality of life for visitors. And tourists have a role to play when they come here to treat it with respect, as well as locals. And that's our job, to keep that resource perfect.
Yeah, the Space Coast is really blessed. We have water all over the place.
Everywhere.
You mentioned that last week.
Yes.
You know, everyone thinks of us as the beach, but
Right.
we have the lagoons, we have the rivers, we've got lakes,
We got swamps.
I mean, if you're a fisherman, you would be in heaven here.
Yeah.
And we're defined. That's how I define us. We've got the Atlantic Ocean to the east and the
Right.
lagoon down the middle and the St. John's to the west. That literally defines us. 3 bodies of water. We're 70 miles long, and those things are our whole length. We are a water-based life form.
Yep. If you're a boater and you're up in Kansas someplace, haul it down. You're going to have a blast. There's water everywhere.
Or rent one here.
Or rent one here. Yeah.
We're good with it
Even
either
better.
way. There you go.
I
Even
love
better.
that.
Well, so Keith, as the director, how much knowledge do you have about the animals here? All of them? All of the animals here?
No, I don't know much about our individual animals.
Well, do you think you know more than 3 then?
Than these guys?
Yes.
I don't know. On trivia.
Let's find out.
Natural history.
I knew
sure
it.
I do.
Space Coast Trivia. All right. Space Coast Trivia, baby.
Okay.
Right.
Brought to you by Longboard's Tiki Beach Grill right there in Cocoa Beach. Another fantastic sponsor. One of location.
Yes.
Easy for me to say,
Yes.
right? But when you're on the beach here in Cocoa Beach, when you come off right on the deck there at Longboard's Tiki Beach Grill, a fantastic venue to go to. They got actually 2 different tiki huts. I know you love the tiki huts.
I'm a Tiki Hut bar fan.
That is your jam right there.
and that's the one, baby. That's the one.
And Bonnie loves their thatched roof. They got the
Yes.
TVs, the NFL ticket.
And she likes the fire pit.
I do.
Oh,
I
the
like the
fire
fire
pit.
pit and the couches. And I had, believe it or not, I had dinner last night with Frances, who is the director of
Mm-hmm.
catering at Tiki's, and she was talking to me about their special drink.
Yeah,
that
what they got going
have.
on?
A lot of stuff. So she has a new menu and definitely crafted stuff. So we have to go back out there, maybe do do one of our remotes and podcasts out there.
And they got live music all weekend too. So
Yes,
you wanna-
they do.
Can I give you a trivia question first?
Can you give us a trivia question first?
You want to talk about tiki? Name a song that mentions a tiki bar or tiki huts. That's not
the
a Jimmy
Beach Boys?
Buffett song.
And not the Beach Boys.
Tiki room. That's the only one I know.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Beach Boys good. What Beach Boy song?
The Kokomo.
Kokomo mentions tiki bars.
I don't know. I
No,
think
you gotta have somebody
no.
that has the line tiki
It has
bar,
to have a
tiki
tiki
hut.
That's
in it.
not a
bar in
Jimmy
it.
Buffett
That's
song.
not a Jimmy Buffett song.
Okay, I can't.
don't know.
Tiki. I can't think.
I was a disc
Jay-Z.
jockey, and I still don't know.
I can't think.
Huh?
Jay-Z.
Does he have a song with tiki bar in it? No. Well, there's a John Hyatt song called "Thank God the Tiki Bar is Open."
Oh,
so that
wow.
should be your theme.
Cool.
Oh, I
think, moving
bet you Kenny Chesney's got one because he's got.
Probably,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a million things
Yeah.
like
forward. Anyway,
And they probably play it over there at the Tiki Bar.
There you
know,
go.
I'm gonna have to tell Francis about
check
that.
out
Right.
"Thank God the Tiki Bar is Open."
Okay.
there you
Yep.
go.
Well, thank you to Longboard's Tiki Beach Grill. Go ahead and check them out. Let them know that we sent you and have a drink with us.
Longboardstiki.com if you want to go look at some beautiful pictures as well, which would be really good.
All right,
okay,
Phil.
we're gonna
So this
we're gonna
week's-
play some games.
This week's Space Coast Trivia.
Make it
is
better than last
about
week.
animals.
Come on, Bonnie.
Question about animals here. All right, so I have 2 teams. I have Wayne and John and Keith and Bonnie. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Come
So
on, here we go.
Okay, here we
so
go.
the rules are if you know the answer, just say your name. Please don't blur it out until I read the question.
Oh boy. Do.
First question: name the slowest animal in
John.
the world. John.
I'm just gonna take a guess. Sloth.
That is correct.
Yeah, baby.
All right.
On the board.
All right.
All right.
I don't know.
Two.
I'm gonna object and
What?
say
Okay.
oysters.
Well, wait a second. No, you can't. Whatever's written is what the answer is.
Yeah, whatever Phil has.
All right.
Oyster.
Second question. A female deer is known as a what?
John.
John.
What is it,
Man,
John?
I'm gonna say foe.
Doe.
No.
Doe.
Oh, John said it. He said it. So, John, you are correct.
The doe.
All right.
Doe.
I
It's not a
said.
fawn or a
say-
foe.
I was going to say
I
doe.
said doe
Fee
before.
fi.
Well, that's what I.
All right.
We're a good
Question
team. We're a
Doe. Doe.
number 3. This is a true or false question, okay? Ostriches, can they fly?
No, it's not true. or
John.
false.
You
They
have
can't
to.
fly.
You have to say your
You
name.
had to say your name.
He said.
I hate
It's
doing
not
that.
true or
Give-
false. Can't be true or
False.
false.
They-
Can they fly? Because that's a question.
No, they can't fly.
They cannot fly.
Okay.
All right. So, we got 2 more questions here.
And we did get that one.
Yeah,
That was-
give him the point.
Yeah, that was us.
You didn't frame it in a yes and a
He,
true
he,
false
he
question.
might not have put his name out there, but he did respond correctly.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What is the fastest animal on Earth?
Keith, on Earth, well, on ground,
Yes.
cheetah.
All right.
You're such a cheetah.
Peregrine
Oh,
You're such a
right.
cheetah,
Love
Keith.
it.
Yeah.
All right. So this is 2-2.
2-2. I love
So
it.
the very last question, which is, all right, here we go. What is the largest mammal in the
Keith.
world? Keith.
Blue whale.
That is
largest.
correct.
Oh man, I wouldn't have gotten that. Nice job.
All right, nice
We had
job.
to
Good
come
job,
back here. We
Keith.
let you guys.
So
gotta let you
appreciate
like
that.
Satchel Paige says. You gotta let you win a
So
little.
It's like the UCF
appreciate
game?
that.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you have to pass a test like this to get this job?
No.
No.
Keith, what is the largest mammal in the?
Actually, my wife loves the fact that when we were dating,
My God.
she knew what the largest bird on Earth was in wingspan.
Big bird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that what did it for you?
That did it for
That's
me.
you just
I
said,
was
"Oh my
smitten that
God."
She knew that information. So
I love that. Hey, before we go, community events. I know you guys are very involved in community and community events, and you have events that happen here at the zoo. Like I do know you have Boo at the Zoo for kids.
Oh, that's great.
yeah. Well, let me tell you a couple things. First of all,
Yeah.
in September, kids are free. Up to 3
Yes.
kids for every paying adult.
Free
So
is the price for me.
free is excellent, and you want to come right now. It's a great time for that. Boo at the Zoo is coming up, of course, in October, the last 3 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Of course, we're making changes for COVID as we learn more.
Right,
Last
sure.
year, we did it during the day, and we're hopeful we can do it at night and do it safely. And then the first Saturday in November is Jazoo, which is the very best party I've ever been to. And I have to work it a little bit, and it's still the best party. Tickets are on sale now. I think our premium tickets are already sold out. So if you want tickets, we're limiting the numbers a little bit this year, just for safety reasons, and also because our restaurant partners who take care of us, they have a lot going on. They have trouble with staff, so we're going to limit the numbers. So it's less numbers than the past. So if you want to come to Jazoo, which is typically so many bands spread out at different venues across the zoo, you wander the zoo. It's open bar,
Fabulous.
fabulous
Yeah.
food, bands everywhere. And we've got our traditional headliners back because we just love them. Jakeem Joyner, who's from L.A., a great jazz musician, Grammy nominated, and Amanda Shaw, who's from New Orleans. We should actually go check on her. She's been here many times, and she's a fabulous fiddler and just a incredibly energetic performer.
Can I ask you a question
Wow.
just to reiterate? Did you say I don't want to put words in your mouth? Kids are free, up to 3
Per adult in
per
September.
adult. I did hear it right then.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's a huge savings.
You need to have another kid.
I'm
only got
going to
2.
get started right now. I got to get
You
out of
only
here.
got
He
2.
doesn't count. John doesn't count. He's a little old for the kid thing, so sorry, Wayne. But you know.
Hey, you know what? We need to talk about. Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the zoo, Tree Chop Tech, Cairo Express, the train. Pause on. Tell us about
So
that.
I'm wearing our Treetop Track
Kayaking.
shirt today, which I do on Fridays. So one of the things that makes the zoo unique is it is a series of experiences, and you can do a lot of things here. You can kayak through the zoo. You can do a self-guided
awesome.
kayak tour. We have a wonderful train experience that we actually upgraded. So in the middle of COVID, before COVID came along, we signed a contract for a new train. And we did it because we wanted to switch to an electric train that fits our sustainability model, actually has much more comfortable cars. And of course, we signed it, and then COVID hit. But we stuck by our contract. Starting last fall, we had a new train. And what we've done is we've changed the experience on it in that we have 3 different sort of African savannas that we rotate animals. So there are actually more animals along the train now. We
Neat.
have Ankoli cattle, this giant cattle with giant rack. We have zebras someday. We have bongo. We have camels. So it changes every day what you'll see on that train ride. It really has been a family favorite. And now, for people over 5 feet tall, your knees don't hit in front of you. So it's
Yeah.
also,
Oh, wow.
it's also comfortable. So I'm
Huge
very
benefit.
happy about that.
That's great.
And then Treetop Trek is a whole different experience. It is a European-style adventure course. It's got lots of zip lines, but it's also got lots of challenges. And we have different courses at different levels. It's a separate admission from the zoo. If you do the challenge course, which most people do, it's about a 3-hour experience. And I always tell people it's like running a marathon you don't have to train for.
Nice.
One of the favorite things we learned, we thought this was going to appeal to teens, and it does, but women turning 50 often choose to hold their birthday parties here. Take
Really?
a bunch of other women up in the trees, and then they're off to like World of Beer.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
It's like a, I get it. It's
Yeah,
an
it's
accomplishment.
fun. It's
The
really
50
fun.
big thing.
It's challenging. There's different courses. There are heights, and the first part of it, you go through our Rainforest Revealed section. So it's like nothing else you've seen. You're up there with the monkeys.
Nice.
Wow, that's
Up there with the
fantastic.
monkeys. I like it.
Yeah.
It's going well.
I can see the Golden Girls up there.
Ah, yeah.
Yep, for sure.
It's good. Thank you, Keith, for taking the time to come
Oh, my
see us. We
pleasure.
appreciate it.
This
You
is-
obviously, I mean, I love the passion. You're the right guy for the job. Love
Thank
it.
you.
You
And
know,
you guys do a great job. This is
Thank you.
impressive.
it's
yeah.
it's just, you know what? It's a lot of fun talking about tourism and letting people be aware of all the things there is to see and do here. Because, you know, we want people to know we're more than the beach. We're more than the Kennedy Space Center. We've got nature. We've got the wildlife.
Got it
we've
all.
got the surfing. We have it all.
We actually didn't.
Yeah.
There's a lot we did not touch on because we only got an hour.
I know. I was going to say, there's so much more, Keith, that we could talk about.
Yeah, we need to come back for that.
Yeah, I'd love it. I
and-
would love it.
And then, I mean, just you heard those of you that are listening in middle of the country that are landlocked. You got to come to the Space Coast. You've got to come. Now you know. You've heard us. You've heard us talking about this zoo. Now you have an idea why it is ranked number 6 in the country. That's phenomenal.
Number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
Oh, I like that. That was
I'll,
sweet.
I'll tell you something else.
Yeah.
Being a nature guy and a birder, in terms of seeing wildlife in Florida, I don't know a better region than ours because all those species I mentioned, you can easily see. Nothing's ever guaranteed. But
Right.
between the Merida and the National Wildlife Refuge and the Lagoon, seeing manatees, turtles, bald eagles, dolphins, those are daily occurrences here. They're not terribly unusual. You see
Right.
them all the time.
Right.
We even have right whales off our coast. You don't see them all the time, but they're here.
Well,
and great white sharks occasionally too.
Right,
Keeping
yes.
Them excited.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
It's all
You just
good.
never know.
seeing the zoo, we can't wait to see the aquarium. We're excited
Yeah,
for it.
we're excited too.
Yep, we're
Yep.
right behind you. We're there. So listen, we also, for next week, we're going to take another location. We're going to go to the Canaveral Lighthouse, and it's on active military ground, so we have to be badged in order to get in. So we're going to
Awesome.
be able to do that, but they do offer tours there, and we're going to meet with Shelley Parker, who is offering the tours through Canaveral Tours, and we're going to be able to see that, and we're going to be in their new museum. So that'll be next week. So we're looking forward to that, and we want to thank our sponsors, of course. You know, the Cocoa Beach Hotel,
Beachside Hotel and Suites, Longboard, Tiki Beach Grill,
Absolutely.
SpaceCoastFunGuide.com. We appreciate everybody, and absolutely, we had a lot of fun here today, Keith.
Yeah,
so
we
thank
did,
you so
Keith.
much.
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Promoting us and all you do for the community. We really
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you next week.
That's a wrap.